I'm going to welcome, first of all, some guests that we have here from Northern Ireland. Mr. Parkinson and Louise, you're very welcome. And Alistair Stewart from Scotland. You're going to be hearing a lot more from Harry in January, but it's a closely held secret for the moment. Very good. I also want to, for those of you who are not aware of this, Tom Darcy, who's here with us tonight with his wife Antoinette, Tom launched his book during the week. Very successful launch. It's called Waiting for the Sheriff, and you can get it online at waitingforthesheriff.com. Okay, very good. Later on, we're going to come amongst you with some raffle tickets. There'll be some fantastic prizes. We also have a very lovely complimentary Right2Homes candle for all the ladies. The men can look after themselves. And finally, before we move inside so that Olivier and his team can look after us, and you're in for a real treat here this evening, I'm going to hand you over now to Vincent, who's going to say a few words. Thank you, Vincent.
Good man, Vincent. Thank you, Brian. Just a couple of fuckle. I have to stand in at no notice for my good friend David Langwaller, who's unavoidably absent, and I'm told to convey his apologies, and my fellow lawyer Anthony Joyce. But I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the much talked about legal profession that often gets a mixed press, even amongst the group tonight. I'm aware of that. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'd like to congratulate Brian, Austin and Tom on their initiative, the Right2Homes campaign, and especially David Langwaller, who is leading the campaign in their constitutional challenge. I don't know, I follow politics, and it's over 25 years ago when a tiny party in Ireland made a breakthrough and won a seat in Dáil Éireann in Dundrum, a guy called Roger Garland. He was from an unknown organisation called the Green Party. And shortly thereafter, it's now prime time, I think it's Today Tonight, or the one even before that, the precursor to Today Tonight. Shortly after his victory, there was a vox pop. RT sent people out to the supermarkets. Do you know anything about the Green Party? You know, yes, I do. I haven't met one of them personally, but they talk a lot about the climate. I'm saying to you tonight, and you are the foot soldiers, you are today's Green Party. Many people still consider you niche, Martians. They don't know you, and you have to get your story out there, the human story. That you are ordinary, decent folk like the rest of us, who have a message, and that message must get out there. I have been privileged to be working, and a barrister must take to his grave what you divulge in court and case, because it's not my property. But I see here tonight the never say die attitude of, for instance, Tom Darcy. And he won, he'd say we won, but we happened to win in the Supreme Court. And what struck me about Tom was his attitude in victory. You know, you judge people in triumph or disaster or the agony and the ecstasy. He was so gracious when he won. He didn't go over to the other side and tell them to F off. There you are now. He was totally removed, Antoinette and Tom, and I want to say that. I remember a song years ago, I get knocked down, I get up again, you're never going to keep me down. Don't ask me to sing it. Do you know that song? Later. That's Tom Darcy. You should put that in the middle of his name when he's running for election. We had someone years ago, Rockall saved the Dublin Bay Loftus, if you remember him. So the thing that struck me that's synonymous with your grouping is that truthfulness, that resilience, and that reality. And I am also touched tonight, like an ordinary guy in the law library, there are people here who are in prison and out for Christmas, and I'd never say who they are, and your friends and your family, and the humane story. And I am convinced there is, many people here tonight, or your friends, are definitely hurt I'm talking to people who are hurting tonight. I'm conscious of that. People who are scarred. People who have seen the blood on the floor and it's not of their making. But the Right to Homes and other people organising can try to rectify that. There is the reality of it all. I wish David Langwaller well in his case. I would agree to disagree. I think I'd say this, I'm delighted to be at the Law Library, your enemy is not the judges. Look at a more fundamental thing. They're public servants dishing out the law. Did they cause this situation? Where are the members of the Oireachtas to change the law and tell judges what to do? So I don't do judge flogging or judge bashing, even in the company I'm in tonight. I refuse to do that.
Good man.
I do, however, believe that in any civilised society, life, three golden issues, and you should be prepared to fight for these to the death. Your life, your liberty, and of course, your right to a home. In Ireland, we do not have a constitutional right to one's home. Yes, you could develop the implied rights under the Constitution, but it's not an expressed right. That's an area which I want to sit down and talk to Brian Riley, Austin and Tom. That's a test case that should be taken. Can you really? I don't agree with the mess that goes on, and I'm sure you don't either. I believe you have to play it down the middle, and you can never lose your dignity, and you must be law-abiding. But there's something wrong, and society is broken if a family is thrown out of their home. You have to ask the question, is it going to rain tonight? Will they catch pneumonia? Are they going to sleep in a car? Do you disturb the children's education? So that's the mother of all battles, will be the right to a home. And I'm not involved anymore on the front line. I founded New Beginning, and there's now many agencies like New Beginning doing good work, but I'm still a practicing barrister who does more than my fair share of these cases. I'm very proud to stand with people like Tom and Jackie, and what about Bill? Never say die. Bill Clinton was the comeback kid in America. I think you should all rub off and get inspiration from Bill tonight. He's not taking a hit. And I want Bill to write a book to tell people, how to keep strong. And that's my message tonight. Keep strong, because unfortunately, and I don't wish to leave you on a sad note, I believe, and it's probably felt by the Right to Homes organisation, the worst is yet to come. And you're doing your part. We must mobilise the people, the silent majority. It's not going to be a soft landing. And the greatest fight of all still has to happen. And hold that dignity, the dignity that under the most difficult, most testing circumstances, any client I ever had, they displayed dignity. You can try to take your home, which we'll fight, by the way. They're not going to get their homes, because I think we should do something, get the legislators to legislate, bring the test case on, bring it on. But you can do that. But you can try to take their home away, you can never take one's dignity away, one's self-resolve, one's resilience. That's not for bargaining, it's not for sale. And tonight you should feed off each other and inspire each other to dig the trenches deeper than ever before, that this country is not for sale due to foreign lending, that you have a constitutional right, although it's not recognised in the court yet, and bring that revolutionary spirit of Vive la France. And it's going to start tonight, as we have a lovely meal tonight, that Vive la Irlande, that we are here, we are going to stay, we're not going away until we have a resolution and we protect the weakest person amongst us. That's how you judge a society. And if the terrible cliche that's used all the time, a rising tide lifts all boats. So I'd like to thank Brian, wish him well in his initiative, and Tom, and have a wonderful evening. And it's very good from someone from the Law Library to be here tonight. It's a first, and I hope it's not a last. Go Margaret.
This is a fundraiser for Right2Homes, an organisation which is headed up by Brian Riley, and it's a fundraiser for the Lloyd family who were evicted from their home in Kells 5-6 weeks ago. And a deal has now been done by Austin Byrne to buy the house back for 67 grand, and we have till February to come up with the money. So the whole idea is that the house will be bought, given to a charity, and the Lloyd family can repay the 67 grand in the form of rent over a number of years, and then they can get the house back. And the charity, maybe Peter McVerry or some charity, I don't think it's all the details are finalised, will get benefit from it with charity money. And so the whole reason is we're trying to raise money in any way we can, and Brian came up with the idea of a black tie dinner, so a black tie event, so hence we're all here tonight, and we're hoping that it'll be a success. There's also a number of other campaigns that Right2Homes is involved in, and there's a constitutional challenge to the 2013 eviction bill as we see it, and there's fundraising also going on for that. So it's a busy time with fundraising, and then some of the rest of us are then down the courts helping people stay in their homes and whatever else. And we had a success yesterday where a young man that was evicted 5 weeks ago, he was in an apartment for 14 years, and somebody bought it at auction and just smashed in the door and threw him out. And we took an injunction proceedings, and the evening before it was due in court yesterday, an email came in at 5:30, and they had replaced his furniture and his clothes, and wanted to know where they could send the keys to. So another success. That man had no money. Legal people, solicitors he went to wanted 5 grand and 10 grand. So the organisations, Friends of Banking and the Land League and Right2Homes gave him a hand, and our legal people helped him, and he's back in situ since last night. So these are the kind of things we're involved in, and it all needs money, so fundraisers are a necessary part of the process.
I was at a seminar in Carrick-on-Shore on a Saturday, and I was promoting that it is the women in this country who actually suffer. Every eviction I've ever attended, it's the women who phone me, the women who bury their husbands or their lovers or their friends, and it's the women who, wipe the tears from the kids' eyes and tell them everything's going to be okay. It's the women who actually suffer in silence. So I actually promoted for the first time for a women's party, because what we need is a call to arms, and we can't rely on the men of this country, sadly, because all they're going to do is talk. So I've tried everything over the last 5 years, and every group, every association, from Cork to Donegal, from Louth across to Galway. And it's great when the parties and the groups start at the start, but sadly they either end up with internal difficulties, but nothing occurs. And what we've got right now is a great opportunity, particularly in the court system. We have vulture companies right now that are exposed for what they really are. We have a legislative process that would seem to be doing a U-turn on what originally was said when I started in the courts 5 years ago. So whether it's a small wave, I don't know, but it's certainly a change. And we need to expose it, we need to use it. That was the whole idea of writing the book. Basically to identify to the world the criminality, the corruption, the deceit, the betrayal that occurred to the was perpetrated on the Irish people. Sadly, up to now, the Irish media decided not to report, but that was already predicted anyway. We always knew that the Irish media are so compromised. It doesn't matter what newspaper or TV channel you're talking about, they have economic reasons not to say or to report, because they're so indebted to the banking institutions and so reliant on their investments and advertisements that they would commit professional suicide to actually say something that's derogative. So it leaves it now for us to go to either England or to the States. And that's basically what I'm hoping this will give us. Everybody has a friend or a relative or a cousin or a nephew in the States. What I'm asking them to do is to promote the book in the States, and hopefully we will get to the radio stations, we will get to the TV stations. We can expose the truth. And that's exactly what I want to do. I've never deferred from where I started. And that was about evictions, stopping evictions. I'm sitting right now at a Right2Homes function, trying to generate funding. And it's only done by a handful of people, because sadly everybody is conscious about right to water, or they're conscious about property tax, or the next up and coming budget, or the next general election. The Right2Homes issue is not going away, it's getting bigger and bigger. When I started this first, there were 600 children on the streets of Dublin. Now there's 1,200. And by 2 years' time there'll be 2,000. And when the horror stories start to appear, people will ask, why did we not do anything? How did we allow our families to be fragmented and destroyed? How do we allow women to sleep in cars? How do we allow families to be destroyed for the greed of the few? So the few can gain extra billions, while a whole nation is destroyed. This time in history will change, will be reflected back in years to come. This will be the time our successors will ask the question, why did we not do anything? And it'll be up to every person then to answer. To me, I'll never stop, I'll never give up. I expected to be injuncted. I expected to receive a litany of solicitors' letters, not one. So that tells you one thing. What I've written and what I've said for the last 5 years has been 100% truthful. And I'm hoping someday that it'll be recognised for that, because when it does, there'll be no reason anymore to fund the Right2Homes, because we're going to stop it. And that's what the intention of everybody here tonight is to stop eviction, the illegal and lawful eviction of families across the state. And that's basically all I can tell you.
I would say that you've got to fight it out to the last. You don't surrender the property. A lot of instances the bank's paperwork is not correct. When the banks are challenged, in a lot of instances they go away. Even when it's gone to the sheriff, there's still time, determination. If you want to stay in your home, our organisations and other organisations associated with it will help you fight it out to the bitter end. And that's what people are doing, and we've been helping people. And over the last couple of years, and I can cite families who were to be evicted 2 and 3 years ago, they're still in their homes. The banks have gone away and haven't come back, which meant that if their paperwork was 100% in order, they would have proceeded. But they were bluffing people in a lot of instances. And there's a lot of people who surrendered houses, we've seen with the Irish Permanent, that were overcharged on these trackers and were put out of their houses, and they should never have been in the first place. So I would say to anybody, do not surrender. Do not give up the house and fight. They can't put 500,000 people out on the street. If we all stick together and fight, united, we shall succeed.